All right. It looks like we are live and we are on the air. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra Rodriguez. I'm with fourcornersfield.com, and I am super excited tonight because I have my good friend and one of my mentors on the line with me tonight. We're going to be picking his brain because Dr. Bob Clarke, I always like to tease him when we do the Daily Dose of Awesome calls with Elite Marketing Pro, and I tease him and I say that Dr. Bob has the cure for everything that ails us in business. And I'll have you all know this is a very real stethoscope. My daughter actually takes the pulse. Yeah, I mean, the pulse. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about, right? She actually gives her American Girl dolls their checkups with this.
There you go. Awesome.
So we are going to make sure that our businesses are healthy. Oh, I'm really excited to have you on the call. Dr. Bob Clarke is a reproductive physiologist, and he supervises an infertility lab in New York City. He's a very, very busy man, and yet he has perfected the art of working his business part-time on the internet and doing it profitably. So I thought it would be a really, really good idea to interview Dr. Bob and get his insight and get his tips on how, as newbie marketers, we can get our businesses up and running, birth our businesses online, and get them profitable. So welcome, Dr. Bob.
Thank you so much, Sandra. That was a great introduction. I love the stethoscope. I'm going to get myself one of those for sure, because that's just a great way to start the call. Fantastic. So thank your daughter for allowing us to use her prop. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. It's always great to talk to you, and I'm excited to share with your fans and your followers, and maybe help them out a little bit if they're building their business part-time. So yeah, I'm stoked. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, let's start out by just telling us a little bit about you and how you got started in the business.
I started my business back around 2008, 2009. Probably got serious about 2010. I'm a little bit older than a lot of people who have a home business. I started late in the game, and it all started, I don't know whether you want to call it a midlife crisis or what, but I just one day was thinking to myself, I've been doing my career in healthcare for 25 years, and I'm like, okay, I know I help people with that. I know that it's a great thing to do, but I want something more, and I want to retire on my own terms. That was a big thing for me, and it still is a big thing for me. I don't want to be dependent on anybody, including the government. I don't want to outlive my money. And I want to make sure that, when I retire, I'm going to enjoy that retirement. I'm going to have fun. So I didn't want to wait till I was 65. I didn't want to maybe be too ill or whatever to enjoy my retirement. So all those things kind of got me into thinking about doing something different. And I don't know. I've always wanted to start a business. I've never done it. And it's just something I've always wanted to do. And my wife and I were looking around, and like everybody else, pretty much, we started an MLM. And we've been through about 3 or 4 of them now, I would say. And at this point, I'm not doing MLM anymore. I just decided to do affiliate marketing and brand myself. But who knows? Somewhere down the road, maybe I might get back into it. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was really that whole thing of retire on your own terms. And that's one of my taglines, because people my age resonate with that. They don't want to depend on anybody else.
So was it an easy transition for you? Did you find that, okay, because the reason I ask that is because, a lot of times people will think, well, maybe he's doing well because, he's already a professional, and, I'm not that smart or whatever. People always have kinds of excuses why they can or can't do something. So, I mean, how was that for you? Was it an easy transition going from doing what you do during the day and being a marketer by night online?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I mean, it's still a difficult transition. I think anytime someone is used to being an employee and then switches roles into the boss or the entrepreneur, that's a tough transition to make. In terms of people being smart, there are lots. Our internet is full of really smart people who are broke, who are trying to build a business who are broke. So I don't think it really has much to do with being smart as it is being persistent, being consistent in your efforts, and being smart enough. And this is something that I had trouble with, being smart enough to follow somebody's path. And I have kind of an upper level management job now, so my ego kept getting in the way of following somebody maybe younger than me, or maybe I thought I should know it already, because I have a lot of specialized knowledge in my field, but in marketing I had none. I've never done it before. I've never sold anything. I've never done anything like that. So I think letting that ego go was a big thing for me as well. So it is a continuous process. I would say another big thing that happened to me that was tough was in my job, and I think in most people's jobs, mistakes are a no-no. You avoid them at all costs. And I also, so that's the way it was, and that's the way it continues to be. So my business, I kind of continued that. I didn't want to make mistakes, so I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't try anything because I think I don't want to make a mistake and lose money or whatever. And then some very smart people said to me, "Hey, you don't make mistakes, you're not going to grow." And it's perfectly fine to make mistakes as an entrepreneur. It's a must, actually. So that was a huge shift for me. And it was actually a great lift off my shoulders to be able to just say, "Oh, I can just do this. If it doesn't work, okay, I learned."
That's so true.
Yeah.
And it's we're afraid to make mistakes, or we're afraid to we want to get it right. In the workplace, normally you need to study and you need to get things right because you got one shot to do something. You don't want to make any mistakes, and you want to do it right from the beginning. But for me, that's been a real change too, is hearing this, go out there, you're not going to make your mistakes, and make lots of them. And that's really a different mindset.
It's scary, but it's fun, right? I mean, because now, okay, I'm allowed to make mistakes. And isn't that cool that I can go out there and, do something and have it not work, but learn from it and do it better the next time.
So outside of that, what would you say has been or was one of your biggest struggles or challenges?
I think time is always a challenge, I think, for most people. And for me, especially, over the years, I've gotten promoted. I've taken on more stuff at the job, and my time has become less and less. And so that's become more of a challenge for me. And it's actually helped me become a better marketer in a way, because I have to be super efficient. I teach people a lot on how to build their business in 2 hours a day. It's one of my trainings, and it's a really good training. But then I started realizing, okay, I don't have 2 hours now. I have an hour, and sometimes I only have 15 minutes. So now I've started training people on how to actually keep building their business in 15 minutes a day, if that's all you have. So I've evolved. I think I've become a better teacher because of my experiences and my situation. And I think it's just something that, everybody, whether you're working a traditional job or you're taking care of the kids, or you're taking care of your elderly parents, everybody is really, has a tough time with having enough time for your business.
Well,
So
that's incredible because, just to think that you can do something in 15 minutes to start to propel your business forward or whatever. I mean, it just give us a little bit of insight. I know we talk about that sometimes on the Daily Dose of Awesome, and you've had whole calls revolve around that whole premise. But give us a little taste of what would one of those strategies be to actually do. What would you do in 15 minutes?
well, you can do a lot in 15 minutes. You can make a little video in 15 minutes. You can at least start a blog post in 15 minutes. You can certainly do a Facebook ad in 15 minutes. You can talk to somebody in 15 minutes. And what I teach a lot of people on my team is, okay, if you only have 15 minutes, make it count. Okay. And do something that is going to advance your business in such a way that you have a chance to make money that day. Okay. So for example, for an MLM person, the bread and butter for the MLM person is to talk to somebody, right? It's to go out there and prospect, or follow up on a prospecting call, or get somebody to a presentation. That's your bread and butter. That's how you get paid. So if I am an MLM personally, if I was an MLM and I had only 15 minutes, I'd get on the phone, I'd get on Facebook, I'd find somebody to talk to, and just build that relationship even a little bit. Even if they continue it the next day, you just tell the person that, or you see if you can get somebody onto a presentation. That would be the best use of your 15 minutes. Now, that would be, these are extreme times. 15 minutes. I'm not saying you can build your business in 15 minutes a day. Okay, I'm not saying that. That would be tough. I don't know anybody who could really do that. But you can keep your business going in 15 minutes a day. It's a heck of a lot better to do that, to talk to one or two people for 15 minutes, than it is to do nothing and then say, what, I'll do it another day. That's,
And I've heard you talk a lot about building your business in the nooks and crannies of your day. And I thought that for me was huge because, a lot of times I like to tease my husband because when the kids were little and I was at home, there were times when he'd come home and he'd be like, oh, what? He made that big mistake that a lot of husbands do, and came home and said, well, if he asked me to do something, maybe I didn't have time or I forgot. And he's like, well, what did you do all day?
I know where you're going with that.
Yeah. and that would make me want to tear my hair out. And then, he had plenty of opportunities after that. I can assure you, he doesn't think that anymore. But he was like, oh my gosh, there's always something going on. And what would frustrate him, there was a time, when he was kind of the, he was the stay-home dad while I was out, and he'd get so frustrated because he'd say, I didn't get anything done. I had some things that I needed to do on my schedule. And then, something always comes up and it didn't ever go according to plan. So for me, being a homeschool mom and having, trying to have, if anything, I try to really have some continuity and keep to a schedule, when it comes to her.
Right.
And then everything else kind of has to fit around that.
Mm-hmm.
And still things don't go as planned. So that piece of advice that you have given about, fitting in, do what you can in the nooks and crannies of your day, wherever you get an opportunity, wherever you can, if it's putting up a post on social media or, sending out an email to your list, that has been really, really has revolutionized the way I can get things done. Because we sometimes look for those 2 hours. We look for these blocks of time to do it, and they don't always work out.
Yeah, that was a big one for me too. And I can't take credit for the nooks and crannies. That's actually one of my mentors taught that to me. And it's a huge one because I was like you, I would wait for that hour and a half, 2 hours, that block of time to say, okay, this is my business time. And if you can get that, that's fantastic. Go for it. But most people can't always get that every single day. So what I kind of got into doing was to figuring out what could I do in the 10 or 15 minutes while I'm, sitting in the car, waiting for my kid to come out of school, or waiting for a doctor's appointment, waiting, 20, 25 minutes for a doctor's appointment, or, driving to work or at my lunch break. What can you do during that time? And you can do a ton of stuff if you really think about it. You rattle off some of them, if you're sitting outside in the car waiting for your kid, wherever he or she's coming out of, you can grab your iPhone or whatever phone you have and just do a video. Sitting there, just do a video. I mean, those are some of the best kind of videos because you're not really worried too much about it. You're not trying to plan everything, but you get on there and you're like, okay, I think I'll talk about this and just do it.
It's true. Those are the ones that I've had to think the least about. A lot of times when you sit at your desk or, I sit here and I'm going to do a video. It just takes forever. And then the other times when I'm in the car, it just kind of flows.
Yeah, exactly, right. So you can do that kind of stuff, and like you said, you can at least start a blog post. You can get on social media. You can do a lot on social media, business wise, in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can really get out there and do some stuff. You can, you can put some ads up, whatever. You can do anything. But when you learn to, like you said, work in those nooks and crannies and look for them and kind of look forward to them because you know that you can do something with that time, it takes a big relief over, because here's what happens to most people. They have that hour and a half, 2 hour mentality in their head, and then something happens, like you said, something always comes up, and that breaks apart. Most people will say, well, I'll try again tomorrow. And that's a huge mistake, because tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes next month. Pretty soon you feel like, oh, I guess I can't do this. I guess I'm not good enough. And then you're lost. You're done.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, it's a huge shift. It really is.
One of the things I want to ask you is, we hear a lot about, persistence and don't give up, and there's a lot of quotes, and we know that is the key. I mean, really stick it out. Don't, be persistent and continue doing, keep going. But at what point, if you're not getting results, at what point do you stop and go, okay, something's, not working. I need to step back and take a look at this and tweak it, or figure out, what am I doing wrong? At what point do you go, okay, what advice would you give there?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I think being persistent is important, but sometimes you can bang your head against the wall too many times and you're never going to get it right. Okay. And I'll tell you my big secret, and it's not a big secret. It's just what's worked for me is I go and ask somebody who's already done what I'm trying to do. I'll go over to, Fernie Ceballos or somebody, or Tim Irway, and say, I'm doing this. It's not working for me. Should I continue, or should I do something else different? And many times they'll say, keep going. You're on the right path. And many times they'll say, no, you want to do this over here. And okay, if you don't know Fernie or Tim, it doesn't have to be somebody that high up. It could be just somebody one little step above you who's maybe done something that you're trying to do. Maybe it's your sponsor, or maybe it's you're somebody who's brought you into a program. Somebody who has a little bit more experience than you doing what you're doing. That can save you so much time. Because a lot of times it's a tough call, right? Because you're preached at here, don't give up, keep going. People stop right before they see their big, breakthrough.
Right.
But sometimes if you're not doing the right thing, you're not going to see that big breakthrough no matter how hard you try. And that's, I think, what you're asking.
Right.
And it's hard to know that in nearly anything in life, I think. And I've always tried to make it a habit of just finding somebody who is a little bit above me in knowledge in this subject, and just asking them, hey, this is what I've been doing. I'm not getting results. Am I on the right track? And that am I on the right track is such a powerful question.
Yeah.
When you ask somebody, because it kind of gives them the okay to coach you, because you've asked, right? A lot of people don't want to really coach you unless you make yourself, coachable, and get out there and make it kind of obvious that you're asking for help. So, you have to drop your ego, which I did have trouble with, and you have to go with somebody who's done it. And that's how I tackle that kind of thing.
Yeah. And that was one of my questions to you, is what do you, see, the importance of having a mentor, and that was your answer right there. I mean, I believe in mentors. You're one of mine, and along with a couple others, the chefs, and Katrina, who I'm going to be interviewing her. She doesn't know that yet, but she's she's going to be one of the my coming interviews. But yeah, it has been huge for me, is being able to reach out to having these conversations with you, or with Katrina, or I have a couple others that I go to, and then of course we've got the coaching calls. We've got coaches that we've got access to through Elite Marketing Pro. But also, even within the community, I think it's so important to be part of a team, or to have like the support of other people in that are going through what you're going through, who are building their business as well. And because there's people at different places in their business, and that's one of the things that I find so helpful about having communities.
Absolutely. And people often will ask me, well, aren't there shortcuts? And it's very nice to say there are no shortcuts in this business. It's just hard work. And I used to subscribe to that, but I think there are some shortcuts. One of them for me has been the internet. I mean, it's an incredible shortcut, because you can just get so much more, exposure to people than you could trying to do it one-on-one. And the second one would be finding the right teachers. And Elite Marketing Pro, which we're both part of, that's kind of built in, because the teachers are there, and it's easy pretty much to find someone right above you who has the answer. And like you said, the community, or you go to the Ignition coaches, your questions can be answered pretty much there. So yeah, coaching to me is a shortcut.
Do you remember your first sale online?
Oh, I don't remember a short. I have a very cool story of my first sale. and I can't take credit for it. I think it was kind of pure luck, because I was doing some affiliate marketing. First of all, I was terrible at MLM. So if anybody watching this is bad at MLM, or not bad, but not getting results, I was the worst. I was like, I would start out with, I know you don't want to buy this, but can I show you something? I was terrible. So I didn't make any money in MLM. I really didn't. But my first sale was back in a company that really doesn't exist anymore. It was an affiliate sale. And it kind of wasn't good in a way, because I joined this company and I popped a $300 sale. And I really didn't do anything for it. It was just it was luck. And honestly, it was just my link in front of the right person. I don't know how it got there, but this person bought something for like $300. And I thought, this is easy. I could do this all day long. And I soon found out that it's not like that. You have to do much more to get consistent sales. That was my first one, and I won't forget it, because I remember that email, and I remember showing my wife and thinking, we're going to be rich, honey. I know this is what works.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, and it doesn't work that way, but it was fun, I have to say.
Well, let's talk about social media for just a sec, because that's an important part of building your business, and but it can take up a lot of your time if you're not careful. It can eat up a whole bunch of your time. So, what we hear about having your presence online, and making sure that you're on a good on a lot of the platforms, and then others say, well, no, just go with one platform and get a following there. So what would be some advice there, because it really can eat up your time.
Yeah, it does, and you have to be really careful with it, because between like Facebook, Google Plus, Instagram, YouTube, you can watch videos all day long on YouTube. I mean, it can be really, all of a sudden your 2 hours are up, and your business time is done. I am a believer in the one platform system, where I pretty much have stuck to Facebook. I am on Google Plus. I'm on other stuff, which something like I'll share a blog post or a video on there, but I'm not a presence there. I really don't think. I prefer. It's easier for me to concentrate on one thing and get good at it. I've always been better at doing that. So I chose Facebook. So a couple of tips on Facebook, I would say, number one, understand that just be yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else, because the whole idea of Facebook or any kind of social media is to attract people like yourself. So if you're trying to be somebody else, then it's kind of counterproductive. I did that for a while. I tried to be Mr. Professional Salesperson, and it wasn't me, and I think I was kind of phony. It probably showed through. What I like to do is, I like to, instead of trying to bother people too much, trying to sell people, for example, which doesn't really go well on social media, I try and do something of value, like a video or a blog post or something like that, a Facebook note, something, and let people comment on it and then start the conversation that way. And that way, usually people who are commenting something positively or asking questions, that's a much easier way to start a conversation than a private message to somebody who's just become your friend. What do you do for a business? We all hate those messages, and they're phony. People are trying to get you to buy something for most people. So be yourself. Lead with value. Lead with value. Try to understand and a good way to do that is, okay, what questions did you get answered in your business over the last week or so? What were you struggling with, and how did you kind of get through that? Because that's what people want to know. Because whatever you're struggling with is what somebody else is struggling with, for sure. Probably many people. So that in the end, if you just address that, I learned something very cool yesterday from Mark Harbert. All right. Apparently, and maybe other people know this. I've actually heard this before, but I totally forgot about it. We were talking about this whole concept of how long of a replay is too long to watch. We were talking about this before. And because somebody sent me something that was like an hour and 23 minutes. I can't watch something for an hour and 23 minutes. But Mark kind of chimed in the conversation on Facebook. He's like, hey, try this Google Chrome extension that speeds up your videos, so that when you watch it, you can go 1.5 or 2 times faster, and you can screen it. You can go through faster on a video. All right, so that solved one of my problems, because that helps me a lot. So I'm going to pass that on tomorrow to my list or my people on Facebook and say, hey, in case you struggle with these long replays and you want to get through that, this is something that I learned from Mark Harbert, and always give credit to where you found it. And I know I'll have people say, oh, thank you so much for that. I've been struggling with the same thing. That's what I do. And when I get somebody who comments like that, I start a conversation. And it's just much more natural. It feels less icky. And, because you can say what you want, but people are out there, in the end, they want to make some money, and I understand that. That's fine. And if the situation is right, and if it's something that I need, I'll buy something for sure. But you can't lead with that all the time. It doesn't. It really doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just be yourself and lead with value. Those are my 2 big tips.
Okay. Well, I want to end out with one final question for you. I had a couple others, but same thing. I don't want to make this too long, and then I'll always be able to have you back.
Okay, good.
So what I want to say is, what piece of advice would you give to someone, for example, someone who's just starting out? Maybe they just signed up with an MLM and they're thinking, what, I want to look into how can I do this online? Or maybe they don't even have a business, but they're sitting at home Sunday night and they're going, oh, dreading Monday. There's so many people that are working full time and are dreading it and are looking to the internet. How can I build a business? How can I make money online? And then they get on there, they start looking online, and it's overwhelm. Like, what do you do? And that's where I was just almost a year ago. And but what would you say to someone? What would be your advice? Okay, you're online and you want to build a business. Now what?
Okay, well, what I did say before about finding a teacher does apply. Okay, so that would be number 1. But aside from that, for me, I think I might have said this, but getting on the internet made a huge difference. Because when you're part-time, it's very difficult to do your business one person at a time. It's just not very time efficient, time effective to do that. So that's number 1 is learn how to market your business on the internet. And number 2, which is not only makes it faster growth for your business, but makes it a lot more fun, is learn the art and the science of attracting people to you. Because when you do that, everything becomes more fun. Because instead of going out to get people are coming to you. And it's not, overnight, of course, but, I've made a study of this. I've learned attraction marketing. And we throw that term around a lot, but essentially what it means is that people come to you to ask you questions about their business or how you can help them. And that, to me, when that happens, you just find that you just have a solution for somebody and you give it to them and you make money, hopefully. So, the internet and attraction marketing are two things that have helped me quite a bit. The biggest resource, Sandra, that helped me, and I know you probably share that, is the attraction marketing formula. It started out where I read Mike Dillard's Magnetic Sponsoring, and then kind of the going forward with that was the attraction marketing formula, which really kind of took it step by step by step by step, how to market your business on the internet. And to me, that's just been, I go back to that several times a year and reread parts of it that maybe I'm struggling with, because it just makes a lot more sense to do it. So that would be my biggest thing is, get on the internet and learn how to do attraction marketing the right way.
Right. And that's actually how I met you, was through the attraction marketing formula. We had that mastermind. I got the attraction marketing formula, and then there was a mastermind that you and Chef Katrina did, and that helped me so much. Just good. Putting that to use and getting together and having that support, like we were talking about, the community, and having these small groups and having that mentorship that you provided. And I actually have that. We still have that, those recordings of that, and I give that as a bonus to anyone who joins me, that they can sit in and watch these masterminds and really get held by the hand and walked through the whole process. It's invaluable.
It is good because you can read something many times, but to have someone then kind of explain, okay, this is how I applied it, and this is how you can apply it and make money with it. That does help, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think that's a great idea to get that as a bonus. That's wonderful.
Well, and so for anyone watching, that would be available. You can go to my blog, fourcornersfield.com, spelled out FOURCORNERSFIELD, fourcornersfield.com, and you'll see there. I don't have the link right here below yet, but if you watch this later, I'll have the link up. But if you go to the blog, you'll see there's a banner there for attraction marketing formula, and you can get it that way, and then I'll get you all hooked up. And as far as you, Dr. Bob, how can we find you? How can we find you online?
Yeah, well, I have my blog is kind of my home base where I put all my trainings and everything, and that's over at bobandrosemary.com. So that people can go there and find me there, and they can definitely, if they want to, they can get my trainings over there, some of the free trainings that I give, and get on my list and get on my emails if they want, because people have told me that I'm pretty good at writing emails and giving people value. So I like to think that I am. It's one of the things I try to do best. So absolutely.
You sure do. Well, I want to thank you so much for tonight. This was such a treat. And I want to thank you for joining me and for, imparting your wisdom and helping us get our businesses going and get them healthy and strong.
It's my pleasure, Sandra, and I'd love to come back. And you're such a rock star. I love working with you, and you're taking on a leadership, elite marketing pro leadership position there. So it's wonderful kind of just to get to work with you now and watch you grow. And anytime you want me back, I'm here.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Okay. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.